Hi everyone and welcome to A-Level Psychology at Longload. My name's Anna, I'm the course team leader and I'm here to take you through fundamentals of the summer work that we'd like you to complete for us over the next couple of months. So the purpose of this is to try and give you an understanding, firstly, of the fundamentals of psychology that will give you a good grounding to hit the ground running ready with us in September. About 99% of you will have no formal experience of studying psychology before. And we know that that's a source of worry for a lot of you. So please be reassured that that's absolutely normal and we're used to handling that. It does mean that your learning curve is going to be quite steep over the next few months, but just bear that in mind and work accordingly. One of the other key things is that not having studied the subject before makes it difficult to be confident that you're going to enjoy it. I'm sure you have a really good idea of what psychology is, but probably not a very good idea of what studying psychology actually involves and feels like. So the summer work should give you a clearer understanding of that so you can make your final decisions. From our point of view, it's also going to give us a chance to have a look at your written skills and the way you research and communicate. So this does need to be a word processed document, but we really want it to be your own work. So please don't do any copying and pasting from sources. It's very obvious when students do that. And the point of it is to get you to research, read and watch information online, understand it, and then put it into your own words. That in itself is a skill, and we want to assess that and develop it as well. So let's see what we'd like you to do. The first task we'd like you to do is to explore what are known as the approaches to psychology. This simply means that there are lots of different ways of looking at human behaviour, and that influences what elements of us people study, what they theorise about, and what they think is important. So I've given you on your outline sheet a few pointers as to the sorts of things we'd like you to summarise. And your main focus is the big three: behaviourist, biological and cognitive approaches. Some of them will feel quite familiar, but I would imagine possibly the cognitive will less so. Now, in contrast to those, we also want you to do a less detailed exploration of the psychodynamic and humanist approaches. Mainly, the reason for that being less detailed is that they are less dominant approaches in psychology, and they are particularly valuable to you in your understanding of the big three as a real clear contrast to them. So all of these different approaches have a very contrasting way of going about explaining how we work. But the big three do have one key thing in common, and that's that they attempt to be scientific in the way they do it. And the psychodynamic and humanist approaches are really very different on that front. And they're really different and really interesting in what they do and how they explain things. So they're really valuable for you to have under your belt when you start the course, to at least have a basic understanding of all five. Second thing we'd like you to do is watch some video clips. Hopefully this is an easy to access way of getting into looking at human behaviour and coming up with explanations for it. And what we're hoping you can see is that your ideas about how to explain their behaviour are reflected in the approaches, and that you can start to make those connections. They're all quite interesting cases. Some of them are more controversial than others, and there is more than one way to explain several of the behaviours in the collection. The third task, we'd like you to broaden out into this bigger idea of science, which is really dominant in psychology. You'll notice over the last few months, there's been a really strong emphasis of following the science. And we'd like you to understand a little bit more about what that means. So the vast majority of psychological theory and research is attempting to be scientific and using the scientific method. We've given you a few key concepts from it to get you going and to make sure that you're on track, give you the confidence that you're finding all the right things out about it. But we'd like you to start thinking about why science is so valued as a way of learning about stuff, because that is constantly applied to the theory and research that you're going to be looking at over the next couple of years. Finally, we'd like you to have a look at a couple of the methods that we use. So the videos, the cases that you're looking at there, use the case study method, which is a specific method that is appropriate under some circumstances. But the vast majority of research actually uses the experimental method. So we'd like you to explore both and have a go at summarising what you've understood that they involve. And then particularly we'd like you to think about their value. So why is it in those cases in the videos, the case study method was the best way to go about it? And why under other circumstances is the experimental method better? To help you with that, I've provided you with a link to a really good, clear example of an experiment, which is also quite interesting. So that hopefully will help you reflect on that way of doing things. So that's it. That's your 4 key tasks that we want you to complete. Please don't think that you need to present this in the form of an essay. We'd actually really like to see this presented in more imaginative ways, maybe using mind maps or diagrams, maybe a table, for example, for the comparison of the methods. Almost think of this like a set of notes that you'll use as a reference for the first few months on the course. We have provided you with a few other things that you can do if you choose over the summer. So on your summer work outline, I've provided you with lots of links to other things that you could use to get into looking at psychology. Movies, believe it or not, books, documentaries, podcasts, there's loads of good stuff out there. So I've provided you with some links to get you going. But you might find that you've watched some of the best psychological movies already. That might give you a hint that these are some of the things that you're actually really interested in, because you've already been drawn to watching or reading some of these things already. So finally, there are some extension tasks that are related specifically to the course content. Again, these are optional, but if you're really keen or really bored, then these could be a really good way for you to get your teeth into a little bit more of the course content and get ahead and get on. So there's quite a range there, through from fairly straightforward tasks to some quite challenging stuff that some of you might really enjoy. So all that remains to be said is that we're really looking forward to meeting you in September. We hope we get on well with the summer work, and it really helps to confirm your choice for A-level psychology, and Longroad is the place you want to do it. So have a great summer, relax, enjoy yourselves, and we'll look forward to seeing you in September. Bye.